Hold on a second. If you're receiving Social Security, SSI, or SSDI benefits, October just became your month. And you need to hear this right now. We're talking about double payments landing in bank accounts, payment increases that could put more money in your pocket, and changes that millions of Americans are asking about but might not fully understand. Before you click away thinking this doesn't apply to you, ask yourself this: do you know exactly when your next payment is coming, how much it's going to be, and why some people are getting paid twice this month while others aren't? Because by the end of this video, you're going to have complete clarity on what's happening with your benefits this October, and more importantly, what you need to do about it. But before we dive into these crucial updates, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss important information about your benefits. These updates happen throughout the year, and I want to make sure you're always in the know. Also, drop a comment below telling me if you've already received your October payment or if you're still waiting. I read every single comment, and your experience helps other viewers in our community. Alright, let's get into exactly what's happening with your money this month. So let's talk about what's actually happening this October, because there's a lot of confusion floating around, and I want to clear everything up for you right now. The first thing everyone wants to know about is this double payment situation. Are you getting 2 checks this month? Well, the answer is both yes and no, and here's why that's not as confusing as it sounds. If you receive SSI benefits, then yes, you're absolutely getting 2 payments in October. But before you start planning how to spend that extra money, you need to understand why this is happening. The Social Security Administration operates on a very specific payment schedule, and SSI benefits are always paid on the first of the month. Always. But here's where it gets interesting: when the first of the month falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the payment gets moved up to the last business day of the previous month. So what happened in October? Well, November 1st falls on a Saturday, which means your November SSI payment actually arrived at the end of October. You didn't win the lottery, and the government didn't suddenly decide to be extra generous. You got your regular October payment on October 1st, and then you got your November payment early, at the end of October. It's not extra money, it's just early money. But I'll tell you what, getting that payment early can actually be a blessing if you know how to manage it properly. Now, if you're sitting there thinking this double payment thing applies to everyone getting Social Security benefits, I need to stop you right there, because it doesn't work that way for regular Social Security retirement or SSDI benefits. The payment schedule for these programs is completely different, and it's based on your birth date. This is something that trips people up all the time. So let me break it down in a way that makes sense. If you were born between the 1st and 10th of any month, your payment comes on the 2nd Wednesday. If you were born between the 11th and 20th, you get paid on the 3rd Wednesday. And if you were born between the 21st and the end of the month, your payment arrives on the 4th Wednesday. There's also a group of people who get paid on the 3rd of every month, and these are folks who started receiving benefits before May 1997, or people who receive both Social Security and SSI benefits. So when you hear people talking about double payments in October, and you're on regular Social Security or SSDI, don't panic thinking you missed something. Your payment schedule hasn't changed. You're still getting paid according to your birth date, and that's exactly how it should be. But here's what you do need to pay attention to: the amount you're receiving. Because that's where things get really interesting for everyone, regardless of which program you're in. Let's talk about these payment increases, because this is where real money comes into play. Every single year, the Social Security Administration evaluates something called the Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA. Now, I know that sounds like boring government speak, but stick with me because this directly affects how much money ends up in your bank account every month. The COLA is designed to help your benefits keep pace with inflation. When the cost of groceries goes up, when your rent increases, when gas prices climb, your benefits are supposed to adjust so you're not losing purchasing power. That's the theory anyway. For this year, we saw a COLA increase, and while it might not feel like enough when you're standing in the grocery store watching prices climb, it's still money that wasn't there before. The thing is, you might have already noticed this increase in your payments, or you might be wondering why your payment amount looks different than it did last year. The COLA increase gets applied at the beginning of the year, but a lot of people don't really pay attention to their payment amounts until something dramatic happens, like hearing about double payments, and then suddenly everyone's checking their bank accounts and asking questions. Here's something else that's crucial to understand about your benefit amounts, and this catches people off guard every single time. Your Medicare Part B premium gets deducted directly from your Social Security payment if you're enrolled in Medicare. So when there's a COLA increase, but your Medicare premium also goes up, you might not see as much of an increase in your actual payment as you were expecting. Some years, people barely notice the COLA increase at all because the Medicare premium increase eats up most of it. It's frustrating, I know, but it's important to understand how these things work together so you're not sitting there wondering where your increase went. Now, let's get into the actual numbers people are seeing this October because I know that's what you really want to know. The average Social Security retirement benefit is hovering around $1,820 per month. For SSDI recipients, the average is around $1,400 monthly, and for SSI, the maximum federal benefit is around $943 per month. Though many people receive less depending on their living situation and other income sources, these are averages, which means your payment could be higher or lower depending on your work history, your specific situation, and various other factors that the Social Security Administration takes into account. But here's what I want you to understand: these numbers aren't set in stone forever. They change based on COLA adjustments, they change based on your personal circumstances, and they can change based on policy decisions that happen in Congress. That's why it's so important to stay informed about what's happening with Social Security benefits. You can't just assume everything will stay the same month after month, year after year. Things change, and when you're depending on these benefits to pay your bills and put food on the table, you need to know about those changes before they happen, not after. So what should you actually be doing right now with this information? First, check your bank account or your payment card and make sure your October payment arrived when it was supposed to. If you're on SSI and you didn't get that early November payment at the end of October, you need to contact Social Security immediately. Don't wait around hoping it'll just show up eventually. The sooner you report a missing payment, the sooner they can investigate and get your money to you. Second, take a look at your actual payment amount. Compare it to what you received last month and last year. Make sure the COLA increase is reflected in your payment. If something looks wrong, if the numbers don't add up, you need to reach out and get clarification. Here's another thing that's really important, and I don't think enough people talk about this. If you're receiving SSI and you got that early November payment in October, you need to be smart about how you handle having two payments in 1 month. I know it's tempting to see that extra money in your account and think about all the things you could buy or bills you could pay off. But remember, you're not getting another payment until December. That means you need to make that November payment stretch through the entire month of November. Budget it out. Set some aside for bills you know are coming, and don't blow through it in the first week just because it's there. The reality is that these payment schedules and increases are part of a bigger system that's designed to provide financial stability for millions of Americans who are retired, disabled, or living with limited income. It's not perfect, and I think most people would agree that these benefits should be higher. But understanding how